Good morning, everyone. Pat Winter here. Thank you for joining me and sharing another journal. And I wanted to thank all of my subscribers. I really appreciate every one of you. And I'm glad you enjoy my journals. Today I'm going to share a newly finished journal titled Wild Rose Cottage. And I love working with pinks and roses, so in the theme cottages and pretty ladies and vintage, so that's going to mainly be my favorite subjects. So I used a pretty fabric for the cover, and it is 3 signatures, and it's a little bit of a gator mouth. Not too bad. I used on the front a printed image of a cottage with some wild roses, which for me a wild rose is when I used to ride my bike in the country. The roses that grew on the side of the road were flat roses. They weren't the multi-layered ones like a lot of people receive as, for holidays and such. They were the flat ones, and they had little yellow centers with a little bit of white shading. Those, I love those. I used to collect the little buds, and a few times I made the little rosary beads from the rose petals. It's quite a process, but it was very interesting. So anyway, to me the wild rose is the flat roses with the yellow centers, which is kind of like this. I put some dyed Venice lace around it, and I made a layered fabric from laces and fabrics and cheesecloth and chiffon, and then a little piece of a vintage doily crocheted. And then I had a little button from my friend, but it was white, so I took a little alcohol ink and just tapped each rhinestone and turned it pink for the center. And it doesn't come off or anything, so I think that's a really neat way to color glass and such, because you can use the alcohol ink on virtually anything. So anyway, I added a little lace, vintage lace topper, because I love vintage lace, especially the fine, super fine. And I added a porcelain rose, a mother of pearl pressed vintage button, a bulb pin with some pretty little fabric, and a little dangle, pearl dangle. And I used the grommets for the first time as a closure, which I'm kind of liking, so I may do more of those. Anyway, and I just used the, I dyed some silk for the ties. And under the cover, I have a hard writing tablet or writing board that you can put in your pages that are heavily decorated, so you have a nice hard space to write on. And one of my favorite envelopes, I love these. And then just a couple of pieces of paper. Beautiful papers, collaged, but the other sides are blank. And I will put these sources, I'm not even really going to mention them unless they come to the top of my head, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to put them under the video when I'm finished. And then I used, to secure it, I just used a piece of vintage crochet lace. Throughout the book, I used a lot of, for my crazy quilting days, I loved using the sari silk, or the trim from the sari dresses. It was always beaded, and a lot of times, or most times, they used the metallic threads. So throughout the book, I used bits and pieces of a variety of the sari. I'm just going to call it sari, but it's, it's not silk. It's the trims, embellishments. So that's what I used to decorate her hat. And I have a pocket with a real authentic prescription, and a couple pieces of papers and a journaling card that I stitched, and added a piece of avocado paper. And then I made some of these little bookmarks that's just cut out, fussy cut from an Etsy site, and I used beeswax to cover it. And that's just a little piece of paper tucked in under this butterfly wing, which has some more sari. It's the I just wrapped it around around the page. Goodness, there we go. I just wrapped it around the page for the body of the butterfly. And then I punched this, did a little napkin and Mod Podge, and I embossed this little piece of paper, which I used as a pocket, and tucked in a couple of, oh, there we go, a couple of journaling cards. A lot of the pages in here are from Screech Owl, from Etsy. Just some more journaling cards, some pretty lace, a newer lace. It's not old, but I love how delicate it is. And the avocado papers, which I need to be dyeing some more. And a lot of the little tags and bits in here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I used Wink of Stella, those little pins that, I don't know if it shows or not. Anyway, it just adds just a glimmer, like fairy dust. It's so fine. So I've added that here and there. And these are the little page tabs that I've fallen in love with from Uniquely Ella. I just attached them, I glued them to the top and the bottom, and left the inside open to accept little journaling cards. And again, there's a little bit of Wink of Ella here and there. I love those little things. And some plain coffee dyed paper, a book page from one of the books that I decided to use. It's just full of gardening images. And it was a gift from a friend years ago, but I decided to actually use the pages in here. And a piece of vintage lace and another piece of sari embellishments. And I love this paper. This is Screech Owl. And this page I used washi tape, and I just added another page, a flip out to the top of it. So it's kind of a dual page. And I will link the shop where I got this 3D rose, which I love. It has several layers to it. And then I put a little bee on there, but I thought that would be a perfect center for one of the signatures. And a little chiffon with some trim, mokuba trim, and a belly band of a lady, and an authentic note. I don't remember where that came from, but I liked it. And there's room on the back to write, so why not? And a avocado dyed card for journaling, and a large journaling card backed in avocado dyed and sewn around. And I made this little autograph album from an actual album I have, which is very small and old. But these are the actual, this is the what they called scrap in the Victorian days. It's just little pieces of fussy cuts, basically. And they would glue them onto their journals, or not their journals, their autograph books, which was very popular back then. I think it was a status thing. Whoever got the most signatures and stuff, you know, they were the popular ones. I don't know. I'm not into clicks and stuff like that, but it seems to me that's what it was about. Anyway, you can actually read the little writings from the people who journaled in her autograph book, or signed her autograph book, and some of the little sayings are amazing. So anyway, her name was Lizzie, and I'm thinking there's many pages, more pages to this, and I might clean them up a bit and turn them into digital so everyone can use them, because they're really sweet. So anyway, her name was Lizzie Brown, and the autograph book was from her mother, I believe, for her birthday. So onward, here's the other piece of that page, and it's the cottage, so it was appropriate for this journal. A big old piece of doily that has been bleached too many times, but I love it. A pocket with a journaling card, which again, most of them are backed with the avocado dyed paper, and then just an envelope that you can put whatever in, and some fabric. And I layered a piece of printed vellum, not vellum, graphing paper. I printed on that, and then I just layered it on this page. I don't know why, I just did it. I love this page. I love how delicate and light it is. It's just beautiful. And every page either has a tab or a piece of fabric or lace or something. And this was, I had just left it plain because it was just a piece of dyed organza with vintage lace and a little rosette applique. But it was flapping around and wrinkling, so I just used a paper punch on a piece of decorative paper and just glued it here. So you can leave it to fly if you want. It'll come out. It's not glued onto the chiffon. But you can also use it as a belly band, which I did here for an envelope with some journaling cards in it. So that works. And then, of course, on the edge, I trimmed it in a really delicate pink lace. And paper punch, another journaling card with another piece of sari embellishment. And I love that. The delicate images in these papers are absolutely beautiful. A piece of vintage lace and a tiny applique. And most of the papers are pink. A lot of pink is going on, but I did want to add, break it up and add a little of the beautiful blue that are in a lot of these kits. And this is a hidden paper clip that I used a collage paper to decorate. Oop, the moth. And it just holds a piece of, like a letter, Rose Cottage, and I backed it with coffee dyed or tea stained paper, and I didn't sew around it, but I just left it so it looks like it's a real piece of real letter. Anyway, and the hidden paper clips were from G-Cur, a G-Cur video. Again, what would we do without G-Cur? Okay, another, this came with the Screech Owl kit poem, and one is Cottage Rose, I think. I will link them below. But anyway, this was a tag that you could use. You folded it, and you could use it as a little tuck spot here. There's some more sari. I love that. It looks like a little bouquet of roses. And it has a back piece which you can leave open and use as another tuck spot. So I just used an old receipt or list of something and an envelope, and I printed onto tracing paper. I printed this little from one of the kits, just a pretty thing about roses, but it's on that paper that we love to crunch. So I just added that in here just for fun. And then I printed on linen printer fabric a little bunny from My Porch Prints, Grandma's Attic, I think. Well, I'm not sure. And then I put in a sticker of a leaf and just an embossed journaling card, but I lined the back with the avocado dyed paper so you can write on it without getting all the lumps and stuff. And this is from Shabby Art Boutique Handmade Club, one of last year's months of last year's kits, and it was just one that I had made, and I used a different type of plastic, so I didn't really use it for anything, and it just seemed to fit nicely in here, so I put it in here. And here's some more sari I used as a dangle, a sari trim. Look at all of that beautiful, the sequins. It's just, I love it. And here is another Uniquely Ella page tab that I used as a tuck spot. And it's decorated on both sides, and both sides are open to accept little papers for journaling. Coffee stain paper, another tiny little Ella, Uniquely Ella tuck spot, or page tab. Oop. On both sides. And again, if you see it when you're turning the pages in the light, you can see the wink of Ella just glisten. It's just really pretty. And here is a page of the tissue paper, not the tracing paper that I had printed some receipts on and just used it as a flip up, and a piece of silk sewn on the side. And here I had a piece of embroidered sheer fabric, and I had cut and used part of it, and this was left over, and I don't throw away my scraps. You kind of learn that in crazy quilting. So it was just a leaf, and it just looked like these, so I just glued it on there, and you can still see the sheer fabric around it, just for decoration. And here's some stamps, or tickets, as a belly band. And some journaling cards that have been backed and sewn. Another Uniquely Ella page tab. If I keep using them and talking about them, she's going to think I'm a stalker, so I need to stop. But I love them, so. Anyway, this should, yeah, has two, like, bookmark type color, journaling cards. And here's a little vellum bag that I decorate a little bit on the front. And inside I put several washi tape type, homemade washi tape elements. 2 leaves and a set of roses. And I just put them in there. Another little pocket, the bookmark. It's backed so you can write on it if you wish, and a card. Another pocket, corner pocket from the kit. This is from another kit. And that beautiful paper, and little fabric on the side, and another piece of embossed cardstock as a pocket. a side pocket. And this paper clip is just a piece of chiffon tied on, and another little journaling, tiny little embossed journaling card. A piece of ribbon that I had just received from a friend who she introduced me to this obsession of mine now. Thanks, Jan. And I love this page with the doves. They're sweet. And then I printed on the linen, a dictionary page, and just use it for decoration. It's not a tuck spot or anything, it's just a neat texture. And there's some more of the wild roses. Beautiful lady. And this is a hidden paper clip. On the back has a little pocket, and in the pocket I have a little rose and a tiny little note card with the rose on it. That's where my love of miniatures come in. I always have to have something tiny tucked here and there. But it's got the vintage lace, a little piece of news book print. And those are fun. And that's a G. Kerr project video. And some pretty trim, empty pages to write on with just very subtle images here and there. And this is just a piece of paper that I folded in half lengthwise and used it as a tuck. I put in several little places to write and decorated a little bit with some organza. On the back I put another card on top that I used as a belly band, which I filled with some washi tape snippets that I made some of it, and some of it is from AliExpress. And a little seed packet that's empty, you can put something in. Or these beautiful cards, the size of postcards that are backed and sewn around. And more pretty paper, a tiny little tuck, a cute little girl tab, another uniquely Ella. Only I left the top and the side open so you can put any size card in there with a little flower dangle, some organza. This is more from the Wild Rose journaling kit from Screech Owl. Look at those pages, they're absolutely beautiful. I love subtle pages, subtle images. Oh, they're just gorgeous, look. These are not new kits, but they're just gorgeous. This is a piece from an old slip or something from probably the 20s. I love that. It's so, the colors are just perfect for this. They're so subtle. An embossed belly band with a couple of tags. Some pretty little rosettes fabric along the side. And this is another of the that comes with the kit. It's just a folded tag that has a tag inside, and you can put whatever you want in there. I just tied it with silk ribbon and another tag. I find the smaller tags are perfect to just write an event that happened, like a special event or an appointment or something, a special date. I love having small tags in the journal. And of course, we always do need large pieces of paper to write a story or something. And this is another hidden paper clip with a piece of sari embellishment on. And the back is just plain. I should put a pocket on there, but I'll probably just leave it. I don't know. And some vintage crocheted trim. A tiny little tag that I glued down to turn into a pocket for this tiny little note. I thought that was cute. You can still write a little date on the back of that. And this is from a new kit from someone else, which I will write in the below the video. And I love these cards of the Harrison Fisher women. And so I turned this, I just put that on the front of a piece of paper after I folded it, and you still have a nice big piece of paper. But it folds nicely to tuck. It has a nice hard base on it. And this is the other piece of that paper that I folded to put in, and I put in a little envelope and tucked it into a rose, and then put in a couple of journaling cards in there. That's a pretty image, and this is from Graphics Fairy, I think. A couple cards. Oh, this is a hidden paper clip. And it's holding, oh, I'm going to set this aside and I'll show you this last, what it's holding. But here's another Uniquely Ella page tab that I used as a tuck, which I put in an envelope. And in the envelope, I put a couple of plain, just pieces of printed paper. No, one piece. Oh, I thought I put two. Well, it's folded, but I thought I put two in there. This cute little receipt. I love that. I thought there were two in there. Anyway, that's in there. And on the back, this one also has a nice little crystal dangle. If you haven't guessed, this in my last journal, it was a pair of earrings. So, tiny little tags with a little bit of Wink of Ella. That's an envelope. Just tucked in there for special notes. And this pretty piece of lace at the back just holds a couple of hidden and a nice big piece of paper with a beautiful scene on it. If I could get it open. Look at that little girl. I think that is so sweet. And then blank, of course, on the other side. And then I have a couple of pieces of paper that were too sweet not to include. They have the old-fashioned roses, wild roses, that one. This is a regular rose. And just for papers, just to journal on. And that just tucks in there. And that's it. Now, what was attached to the one page, I was going to do a video on this, but I'm not crazy about doing videos, as you can probably tell. I'm not great at it. So I'm just going to show you briefly. I took 4 envelopes, different sizes, and I turned it into a slow stitching kit. I put them on top of each other. I used the crease to line them all up, and that's where I sewed. Just made a stitch in the center, and I used the thread, which is the linen, the waxed linen, and I just put some beads on it. Now you can take these, because it's already tied, you can clip this and you can take these beads off and use it in your slow stitch project. This has tape on it, the double-sided sticky, the double-sided tape, which you can also take that off and use it. So what I did, in the first large envelope, And I have not seen this anywhere. It just came to me as I was putting this together. I put in a card that has a variety of kind of somewhat coordinating vintage and new fabrics that has to do with roses. So I put that in the front along with a linen piece of printed from my computer. It has little bits of pink roses or whatever. So that's what I put in the front pocket of the slow stitch kit. You need your base fabric, of course, but that's in the front. And then in the the middle or the next size envelope, I put in a card with threads, a variety of threads. Some are vintage and some are newer. This little thread spool is from Carrie Ann, one of her handmade kits, handmade club kits from Shabby Art Boutique. And this is a card of silk ribbon. You've got your 2mm and 2 lengths of your 7mm, which is what I prefer working with. That's in your next one. And then this next card has some vintage buttons. Mother of pearl. They are definitely old. And the last little tiny envelope has some vintage lace and a couple of charms and appliques, a little floral or floret. And I also put in, if I can get it out, oops, a needle. And the needle has a large eye, so you can do your silk ribbon embroidery with it, as well as your regular stitching with the embroidery flosses. And that's what I did, I thought it was kind of neat. So use it if you want, use the idea. And if it is out there somewhere, great minds think alike. So there you have it. And that just clips on with a hidden paper clip. It just clips onto any page that you wish. So that is my Wild Rose Cottage journal. I'm not sure if it's going to be for sale. I'm wondering if I've been thinking about just keeping my journals from now on. I'm not sure, because I like going through them, and they sell quickly, and I never really have a chance to go through them. And then sometimes when someone will say, ask questions about them, and I don't have them to refer to. So anyway, I don't know. If I do have a list of about 5 or 6 people now on the list who are interested in it, but I will let them know if and when I decide to let it go. So thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.